The three variables of ISO, shutter speed, and aperture are a lot to cope with. So what if we just set our ISO to 400 and then forget it exists? With your camera locked onto ISO 400, I know that indoors at night you can use f2 at a 60th of a second. Outdoors in the sun you can use f16 at 500th of a second, and that's the sunny 16 rule in action. In the shade you drop down the aperture to f8 or 5.6, and when you're using flash I set it at f8 at 180th of a second to eliminate the ambient light and then adjust the flash power to get the exposure you need. If I was messing around with ISO, I wouldn't be able to get an exposure that quickly. ISO 400 is the middle of the road. You'll only change your ISO dial or your film stock if you've got a good reason. Lower speeds will reduce your noise and grain, but you'll need a lot more light to make up for it. If you need more motion blur, you can reduce the shutter speed further by going down to ISO 100. If you're in a low light setting without a flash, go up to 800 or 1600, as long as you don't mind the grain, or using denoise or smoothing in your post-processing. Once you have an exposure you like, you can keep it constant by trading stops of shutter speed and aperture. This is the concept of reciprocity, and we can learn to keep things simple from those old film cameras where settings could only be changed in full stops. For every shutter speed increase, we have to open the aperture to compensate. Need more depth of field? Close down the aperture and get back to the right exposure with a slower shutter speed. After a while, it all becomes second nature. Less fiddling with settings means more time concentrating on the picture.